So the title of this one, new patch and I'm worried. Huge changes to core PUBG gameplay. All right. We're going to watch it.
Welcome guys, patch 24.1 is about to hit PUBG, and this is a tough one guys because I'm not sure I quite like this, to be honest. The main thing that's happening in this patch, apart from all the new map rotations and stuff, which you can just see in the patch notes, is that now tactical gear are receiving a massive overhaul. Like it's basically going to be working completely different from what you used to.
Which I think is good.
The game, you choose what tactical gear you want to use. That means you get this tactical carrier box in your inventory at the beginning of the game. Then you have to choose which of the 6 tactical gear you want, and that's the one you have to stick with.
Okay, spotter scope, drone, tac pack, all in one repair kit, the blue chip and the EMT. Are there any of them that have been removed or anything? That's all of them? I think that's it. Because they combined all the other repairs into that.
With for the entire round, unless you die and get revived.
I like
because
this.
Then you won't get any new tactical gear. And with this addition of this tactical gear crate that you get in the beginning, then you're no longer going to have to pick up tactical gear throughout the game. It simply won't spawn anywhere. And also, when you can,
it won't spawn anywhere. That is amazing. How many times have you dropped in and you beat a guy by 10 to 15 seconds on the drop? Some guy flies in late, but because you land on tac sack, EMT, spotter scope, and then he landed on a ump, then he kills you. I think this is great. Happens to me all the time.
Carry it. It's going to go in a new item slot, the 6th slot. Yeah, that almost sounds like a bad title for a movie. And the first thing you might notice when you see this is that there's a new all-in-one repair kit, and we'll get to that. But before we get to that, I want to talk a bit about the tactical gear that you know today, because overall, they've been nerfed quite a lot.
Good.
First of all, the EMT gear is now completely useless as to how a lot of people, I think how most people were using it. It won't work as a solo anymore.
Okay.
So you're not.
Okay, so it only works to team members, which I think sucks. I think this sucks because they take out the solo element of it, right? You want to heal yourself. Like, I don't know. I feel like it should apply to yourself. That's the only thing that I don't like about this nerf. The nerf needed to happen. The EMT is too strong by itself if you're going to make a separate slot for it, right? The reason why that is because the EMT actually was one of the only tactical gears that was actually strong enough to use instead of a primary weapon. That's how strong it actually was. But other than that, I mean, 7 seconds for a med kit, 5 for a first aid. I mean, that's pretty good. The reviving of a teammate from 3 seconds to 8 seconds. This is good. I like all of this, and I feel like it's still going to be viable in like duos and squads, but it's a bummer that it doesn't work on yourself, right? Because the blue chip detector is insanely good. So why wouldn't the EMT be good too? I don't know.
You're not going to get the fast healing that you'd used to do when you are solo. That means it's now entirely an item that you use to heal others with. And also, the revive time has been nerfed. It used to be 3 seconds, which, yeah, that was very fast, but perhaps also the biggest motivation of using it in a squad or duo game, that's now 8 seconds instead of 3. So just these changes to the EMT, I don't see any reason to choose the EMT at all. The tactical...
I mean, well, okay. 8 seconds is still better than 10, right? And then the person with the EMT can then heal someone up, right? So not necessarily. The EMT is still going to be good. 4 seconds of a difference can actually change a battle. Because if you're using the EMT to revive someone versus someone that doesn't, right? Like, let's say you each got a knock on both teams. EMT guy comes into res while the guy on the other team starts to res as well. He's resing 10-second res. You're resing with the EMT 8 seconds. Then you apply a heal at 7 seconds, so then you gain 3 seconds plus the 2. You're 5 seconds ahead of the other team, and you fully healed your teammate. 5 seconds in the middle of a giant squad battle could be good. I think people are underestimating that. I am saying that I think that you should be able to heal yourself. That's where I think the EMT kind of sucks big time.
Pack is also getting nerfed. However, even though it's going from 4 slots to 2, you have to think about it like this. You can have it equipped at all time. It doesn't take up a weapon slot.
Yep.
So in theory, yeah, you could run around with 2 Panzerfaust ready at your disposal at any time. I mean, just think about it. Everyone running around with potentially 2 Panzerfaust in a tactical pack at all time. Interesting. But is it good? I'm not sure. Next is the spotter scope that is getting a buff because it very much needed that.
Well, okay, so let's go back to the tac pack because I think the tac pack, everyone keeps focusing on the blue chip, which we'll get to in a second, but like I think the tac pack is going to be insanely good. It's going to be really, really good. Why? Because you can play with a bolty and an AR, stuff a DMR in the tac pack, or a bolty and an AR and put a pumpy, or you know, whatever you want to do, but you can have your close range in your pack. And you know, anytime you go into a city, you could swap out your sniper and you could just be all close range, man. And as long as you're clearing corners, like who cares if you know where people are at or not? I mean, you got pump barrel or whatever, DBS barrel. You know what I mean? Tac pack's going to be very strong.
A buff because it very much needed that as it was the worst. But it's getting an increased zoom from 4 to 8 times, which is, I guess, helpful, especially since it's going to be in a 6th slot. And also the white marker that is passively being created when you use the scope is no longer going to be there. Instead, there's going to be a red marker that you can actively place by clicking the button and holding it on the target, and then that will be maintained.
The active
for
live pings are
7
back
seconds after a scan. So you can essentially spot enemies the way it was initially designed to be used as. The drone is getting nerfed and having its
dude. I'm interested to see what happens with the spotter scope, because the spotter scope is like when it had those live pings, that's going to be super dangerous for squads. You just scan and you hold that trigger down, and if it identifies people, it puts a live ping on them. Man.
Maximum range reduced from 300 meters to 200 meters. Something I'm very sad to see, because this is probably my second most favorite tactical gear. Feels a little bit unnecessary, but then again, if everyone starts potentially with a drone, I guess I can see why they have to nerf it, since they're doing it like that.
They have to nerf the drone, chat. The drone. I was saying that I think the tac pack and the drone may be the strongest. The drone is really good because you can zip out and scan, see where your enemies are. You can go pick up items. Like, let's say you landed and you're hiding and you're pinned in a building and you can't leave. You could take your drone and be like, oh, I'm gonna go find a helmet real quick. Go pick up a helmet, bring it back. You could go drop gas cans on people. You could be, you know, you can use it for intel. You can use it for lots of different things. The drone is gonna be good.
Perhaps the most controversial item in the tactical pack, the blue chip detector. Everyone will be able to, if they so choose, to start with a blue chip detector, which, as you know, is basically a heartbeat detector. There are some changes though. It will not pulse and update locations of enemies every 5 seconds. It will now do it every 8 seconds. And also the scan radius is going to be 50 meters down from 100.
Makes sense.
So it's going to be close quarters. You're going to use it inside of a compound, perhaps to check an apartment building if anyone is hiding in any of the floors. But there's another twist. If a player has a jammer pack equipped,
we were talking about this.
They are undetectable with the blue chip detector.
We were talking about this.
So perhaps it's not
jammer, man. Jam it up. I don't know. I think that the blue chip is not going to be as overpowered as people think. As a matter of fact, I feel like as people adapt to the new playstyle with the game, I think that people are going to be able to skate around the blue chip detector. It's not going to be as good as everybody thinks. What I'm curious about, okay, maybe he's going to talk about it here in a second. I have no idea. But it can detect blue chips, right? So if people pick up a blue chip and then they drop it on the ground and you use your blue chip detector, you'll see the blue chip on the ground. So you can find your teammates' chips if they like try to grief you, right? But that also means you're going to see dead bodies on the ground that have blue chips on them. Now, I'm wondering if you can just, as you kill people, knowing that people are going to have blue chip, blue chip detectors, I wonder how effective it would be to every team that you wipe, you just take the enemy blue chips, and then when you go into buildings, have a jammer on and drop the blue chips in the building so that they think you're in a certain spot and you just bait them in. I don't think the blue chip is going to be as crazy as people think it is. This is just a change to the game. I think it's positive. I think there's going to be a lot of new strategies and things that people can do, and there's going to be ways to tactically execute a dub. Right? You can use a drone to clear out buildings before you go in. You can do, whatever you want your strategy to be, right? You can take close quarter weapons and attack pack, use it, and use that to clear out the buildings. Lots of different plays that people are going to be able to do and make. You don't necessarily have to use it to rat either. I mean, I don't know. You're moving into a building, you have a blue chip in your bag, you drop it as you're approaching the building. You know that the guys inside the building are going to be sitting in there looking at their blue chip, man, being like, all right, where is he? Oh my gosh, he's at the front entrance. And then they're going to be like, but I hear their footsteps and they don't match up with the dot. Oh, but I hear this, but I see him. He's over there. The blue chip wouldn't lie. I don't know. I think that it's going to add a crazy element to the game.
Really going to be throughout the mid and end game that the blue chip detector will really change the dynamic of the game, although I do think it will, considering that literally every single player on the map could have one that they can use every 8 seconds.
Just
with
get a jammer, baby,
and unlimited battery and all that kind of stuff.
Here's the other thing, man. If you think on a hot drop, people are going to drop in on a hot drop and they're going to look at their blue chip detectors the whole time, you're just going to kill them in a second, chat. You're not going to have time on a hot drop to look at a blue chip detector. I feel like we need to just take a step back, take a breather, and just see how it plays out. Feel it out. Because if there's jammers on every map now, I don't think it's going to be an issue. My question with the jammer pack is, if your jammer gets burned out because you were in the blue and it's at 0, does it still block the blue chip detector because it is a jammer? Or does it need juice? I don't know.
I think this is the biggest problem with a hot drop. Every single hot drop, whether that be boot camp, whether that be school on a Rankle, whether that be Picado on a Miramar, doesn't matter. Everyone can potentially have a blue chip detector. And I think in solo, that's going to be definitely the best choice. Very few people will have a jammer pack that they can just pick up instantly from the ground to block that signal from the blue chip detector. So it's just going to be a different dynamic. Instead of having tactics where we look using our eyes, we peek, We move around to get the proper angles to spot enemies without ourselves getting killed and getting in a bad position. And we use our ears to listen for enemy footsteps. And perhaps if you don't want to be detected, you kind of try to move more quietly to not be detected. All those things goes away when you can just see the location of the enemy on a screen. I mean,
Yeah and no. Like, if people are gonna all use the blue chip detectors, please, everyone, please use the blue chip detector and let the blue chip detector become your crutch in the game. So basically, you can't function and play the game without the blue chip detector. Please do. Because if you drop on a hot drop, sure, you can like look at it and get the general area of where people are. But the thing is that the thing is, when you drop on a hot drop, it's real easy to just look around and be like, okay, there's 2 guys in this warehouse, there's 2 guys in the garage building, and there's a guy over here, right? So you already know where they are. You just don't actually know, right? So if you're gonna be stuck nose deep into a blue chip detector, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage, and eventually you're going to get to the point where you can't even play because you've lost that ability to sense where people are.
I just think this is a terrible change, really, and this alone here makes me think that this is the patch I'm the most worried about since the implementation of bots. So
yikes. See, that's crazy to say, because the bots, I mean, I will agree, the bots was a horrible decision. Still is. Horrible decision. I mean, I would rather play in a game chat where if you hit a certain threshold of population, right? Like, server hits 70 people, just start the timer. And, you know, if it doesn't fill up, it doesn't fill up, right? Why do you want bots? Bots are horrible. Just like earlier today, when I was in a bush in the backseat of a car where no one could see me, a bot is shooting me through bushes and blowing my cover, right? Bots are just horrible. Is this as bad as that? I don't think so, personally. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and this is going to be a horrible thing, and it's going to be, you know, something that no one's going to like. But personally, I think that there's going to be lots of versatility. There's going to be lots of things that people can do to keep things exciting, and there's more strategy.
Not very excited about this, guys. If I have to mention something positive about this, it is that you can locate blue chips that have been looted from your teammates and then dropped in a bush or whatever to hide them from you. You can find that with the blue chip detector. So
hate the enemies, man. It's gonna be a thing. You're gonna say blue chip detector is OP. Well, I'm gonna use it against you. Please, everybody use the blue chip, please. You're gonna think that someone's upstairs in the building and I'm gonna be downstairs with the pumpy. Let's go, baby.
it is possible to see blue chips that have been dropped on the ground with the blue chip detector. Also, it will still reveal loot boxes of enemies or just any player where the blue chip is still inside. So there will be dots on the blue chip that aren't actively live players. But still, even if I highlight this as something positive, I still feel like the solution to enemies stealing your blue chips and hiding them in bushes, this is not the right solution for that problem.
And hey, you know what? I agree with that 100%. This is not the solution for that. As a matter of fact, being able to pick up enemy blue chips and then drop them, like, that needs to go. Now, would that take away from my trolling, right, with the blue chip detector? Sure it would. But man, they need to fix that, dude. This is not a good solution for that. I agree.
The all-in-one repair kit, which is now finally combining all the repair kits in the game. You know, the helmet,
That's
vehicle,
good.
and
This is good.
vest repair kit. That's a good thing. I like that. That's a good change. It also means that they're removing all the repair kits from the loot table. And it also means that you can use these repair kits on all maps.
Good.
So far, so good. I think this is okay. You're going to be able to choose this repair kit as your tactical gear and have up to 10 repairs. Yeah, that means you can potentially repair your vest and helmet 10 times. You can also repair a vehicle 10 times. What do we always wanted with this repair kit when it comes to vehicles? the ability to repair tires.
Yep.
It seemed a little bit unnecessary to only have it work to repair the durability of the vehicle, because usually that's not why you stop driving a vehicle. It is because the tires are popped and the vehicle is immobilized and not actually damaged to the point where it's almost destroyed.
Yeah.
So they're doing this in kind of a weird way, I think. So the way this is going to work is that now you can, using the kit, remove tires from existing vehicles. Yes, you can remove the tire, put it in your inventory, potentially give it to a friend in your team or whatnot, and then you can mount it on a vehicle that has a pop tire. So in order to repair it...
Okay. Let's just take a step back and think about how pointless this is, okay? So, your vehicle doesn't have a tire, right? So, unless there's some kind of sentimental value that you have with that personal vehicle, why would you go to a vehicle that has tires and you could just drive away in that one to then go back to your car and put it on the other one, right? So, I forgot something, chat. There. I forgot to have you guys on here. We got you. We got you right here. Bad Dream. Thanks for the 25 gifted subs, man. Let's go. Happy Tuesday. Thank you. Happy patch day. We are becoming mechanics. So the only strategy I really see with this is finding a car early, taking the tires out early, right? So you find a car at the beginning of the game after you already have one, and you yoink some tires off of it, so then later on you can put them on. But my gosh, does that complicate things even more? Oh my gosh. So now you drive around and you cannibalize other cars, so you're pretty much promoting the shooting out of other tires. I'm just going to say this, Chad. This is going to create a problem because people are going to go around and either yoink the tires off of an existing car when other people are trying to find cars and there isn't going to be tires there, or everyone's just going to shoot out all the tires on purpose now. So like, instead of doing it to joke about and like grief as because people are going to use the car and drive it in, they're just purposely going to shoot them all out so that people can't get the tires off of them. I know they already do that, but they're going to do it even more now. People are going to go out of their way to do that. Some people are saying they won't do that. Well, you know what? People also said that people aren't going to steal people's blue chips and grief and throw them in a bush. You guys don't realize the community, that the PUBG community, what that makes, what that consists of, right? The PUBG community is full of sweats and griefers and people who do this stuff. This is gonna happen. I'm telling you.
A tire, you need to first remove one from a vehicle that has a fresh tire, which is definitely not something you're often going to be having access to in that situation where you just really need that tire to be fixed. So you have to do this in advance. All right. Okay. And you have to have these tires in your backpack, which is going to have a weight of 20
How much?
in your inventory.
20 weight.
So you're going to run around with these tires that you might need. Already here, I'm not a big fan. And then you have to mount the tire. I just feel like this is, I mean, it's pretty realistic, so to say, that you can't just magically fix the tire when it's popped.
But it's a video game,
so much
man.
magic in this game.
It's a video game.
Holes with a Red Bull.
Yeah, thank you.
Teleport between seats.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of this. I think it's goofy, and I think I'm probably gonna have a laugh at this.
Yes.
And it's gonna be pretty fun to see. But I think it's going to be very impractical in actual gameplay.
Yes,
one thing
agreed.
Worth mentioning.
Oh, you know what? Holy cow! Now we're gonna fix this here too, because we don't want to be blocking wacky here. There.
thing before we get to the Vikendi updates, which by the way are good, is that the emergency pickup Blue Zone Grenade, Jammer Pack, Mortar, and Panzerfaust will now spawn on all maps, including in ranked. Yes, so you're gonna be firing Panzerfausts in ranked.
Yeah,
Ranked is very stale, I think. It's not as playful as I would want it to be entertained, so I always play normal games. Overall, I think that's quite cool, but it all really comes down to the spawn rates. If, for example, there are Panzerfaust everywhere in a ranked game,
yeah, watch
that's
this.
not going to be good.
Panzers everywhere
the
in
spawn
ranked.
rates has to work for this to be good. And now for the updates.
Okay, so I will say this. I'm a firm believer, chat, in consistency, right? I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I think normals should be the same as ranked, should be the same as comp. And that's it. So whatever you see in normals is the way it is in ranked, which is the way it is in comp. So if you want to play super sweaty, you want to play, to grind and be the best, just go play ranked. And then maybe if you are the best, then you can go do scrims and you can do the comp scene and become the best, right? And then the people who just want to casually play it would play pubs. I mean, it's confusing as hell when you go from normals and then you go play ranked, and it was like, normals didn't have car spawns, but then in ranked there is. And then in ranked, the circles had certain parameters that normals didn't, right? So you're like, well, how do these people always have the better position? Oh, it's because the circles are more predictable. Oh, what the heck? So like, I don't know. Do I think that everything in normals should be in ranked and comp? No. But that's what I'm getting at, right? If you think that something in normals should not be in ranked, then it probably shouldn't be in the game, right? But they should all be the same. They should be the same.
It's to Vikendi. Vikendi has
Orbit Muppet, thanks for the 11
major
months.
flaws, the way I see it. Certainly, there are other things that could be improved too, but like the 3 major flaws of the map. Number 1, the very open terrain that often completely prevents any kind of tactical movement or positioning because you're just out there in the flat open and you're gonna be dead if you don't have a vehicle. They're updating the map now and the terrain to have more cover. There's like in this screenshot, for example, we have more trees. There's just overall going to be more cover to work with. So I think depending on how impactful that is, overall that's a good improvement. I'm not sure if there.
I would agree it's a good improvement. Although I will say that playing Vikendi, I never really had problems rotating and moving through the terrain and having troubles and feeling like, oh, I'm screwed. I can't get to a certain spot because of the terrain. To me, I've always felt like I've gotten nailed because of the thermal scopes. That's what I think is the biggest problem.
Far enough with this, but we'll have to wait and see for that. And then you have one of the other major issues with Vikendi, which are the circle settings.
And the thermals, get rid of them.
In the early phases of the game, but not in the end phases. In the early phases of the game, the circle time will be shortened down, just like they did on the other 8x8 maps. So that's a good thing. But we still need those end game circles on Vikendi to be faster because they're just way too slow, which is probably my biggest complaint with that map, I think.
Well, I like how Vikendi's end circles are slower because a lot of times you can outrun them. My whole thing is like, man, okay, so the circles, in my opinion, chat, should be slower, but they should do way more damage. I know everyone rips on me for being Blue Zone Bob and how, oh, Bob just lives out in the blue. I'm just playing the same game that you guys are. I'm literally playing, in the blue because it allows me to. If it didn't allow you to, like, you'd be more aware and you'd get the hell out of there, right? But I think the zones should move slower, right? So they should creep in at a slower pace, but do way more damage. So even if you don't find a car, you can get in to the zone just by running. And that would make sense. To me, at least. But
yeah. They're also changing the item and vehicle spawns of the map, and here we come to my third biggest complaint with the map, the vehicle spawns. They're going to make it easier to find vehicles, And it doesn't actually look like they're going to increase the vehicle spawn rate, but I think they're going to make it more obvious where the vehicles are and place them in better locations. So we'll see how good that's going to be. But that's a good thing because that's very, very frustrating. The item spawn.
The crazy thing is, usually people are like, man, the vehicle spawns need to be more. Like I can't find them, I can't get in. I've only died a handful of times from not ever finding a car. Most of the times, like, I've run from one side of the map all the way to the other and never even used a car. I think people just aren't really aware of when the zones are moving and when they got to start running.
Spawn is also going to be changed on Vikendi. So you're going to have less of these extremely good weapons from airdrops spawning around in different places. It's going to be less powerful overall what you find outside of the airdrop crates themselves.
Good.
The Blizzard Zone is also getting more playroom on the map. Something, you know, I kind of like the Blizzard Zone. I thought it was pretty cool when you finally end up in this poor visibility situation, which happened almost never for me because it always spawns it's very small.
Okay.
It spawns very far away from the circle.
Yeah, it is cool.
You know, it just didn't work. So what they're doing now is that they're increasing its size. They're going to make it more frequent. They're going to have the distance between them change. So
that's fine.
Spread, and also they're going to adjust the phases of which it occurs. And they're not specific with this, but hopefully that means that it's also going to be spawning inside the circles more instead of just.
So wait, the main thing that I don't like about this Blizzard Zone, chat, is the damage that it does. I think it's super cool that you get out and you're in a storm and you can't see anything. I think that's super badass. You could actually use that tactically. Maybe it slows you down because you're in a friggin' blizzard, right? But the fact that it does damage to you makes it suck. It's horrible. Why can't you just make it so that, okay, yeah, the Blizzard Zone is huge. People in it, the closer you are to the center, the worse it is. But like, it could help you if you're like, okay, there's a team in front of me, but I got this Blizzard Zone. I could run through it, and then that way I can get in and rotate in, and they might not see me, right? But you want to avoid the Blizzard Zone at all costs because it pretty much brings you to almost a standstill when you're in the center of it, and it does a ton of damage.
Just outside the circles that it used to do. Hopefully we'll see some more cool situations with the Blizzard. The cable car has gotten a significant speed increase of 80%, so it's going to be much faster now.
The cable cars
changes to the combat VR.
I wonder how shooting from those cable cars are going to be, because you actually already have to aim ahead. They've made the changes to the cable car, which is what I think they should be doing with the actual cars and also with gliders. If you notice, when you're in the cable car, you have to aim so like if the person you want to kill is here and your cable car is moving this way, you have to actually aim like way in front of them because your bullet is traveling the speed of the car. Why can't they do that with the cars? It would make drive-bys and shooting from a glider actually impressive instead of cheesy.
The crowbar, like blah, blah, blah. So the rest of the stuff I think is less significant. You can check that out in the patch notes if you're really curious. Also, there is a new Survivor Pass, and I know you guys love me reviewing Survivor Pass and stuff. And I mean, it's okay. It's a decent season pass.
I haven't seen it yet.
Special. Weapon skins, vehicle skins, charms, all kind of clothing skins. A Stormtrooper helmet, which is awesome, obviously. I think this is overall okay, and if you're going to buy this, please make sure to use my creator code on accounts.crafton.com. I'll very much appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Or HollywoodBob Live too. Either or, right? Whichever one you guys want.
To round this off, guys, not so happy with this patch, obviously, but also do think it's quite important that we try the content before we form an actual opinion on how this is going to work in actual gameplay. Make sure that you let your opinions be heard on the PUBG forum, on the PUBG Discord, on PUBG Reddit.
No. Don't go to PUBG Reddit. The other ones, go for it.
On social media, because that way we can get that feedback across to PUBG and they can make appropriate adjustments to the game. So we end up with the game we would love to play, right? Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right, so he doesn't seem too excited about the patch. I can understand. I can see where he's coming from. I can see why he feels that way. But there's also two sides, right? I think it's going to spice things up. I think it's going to offer a bunch of new strategies. I think that it's going to clean up a lot of the ground loot when you're coming in from the plane. You're not going to get stuck finding a bunch of worthless crap on the ground. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to play it. I'm excited to try it out. So those are my thoughts. Just kind of added my opinion along with Wacky's. Let's see here. His video. Obviously, we're going to slap a like on it. Make sure you subscribe to Wacky. The info and the link to the video is going to be down below. So if you want to check out the original, check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks, guys.